last time my guest sat in this chair, we chatted about firearms and politics and policy and mental health. It went on to become one of the 3 most listened to episodes of that year. 27 years in the RCMP, it goes without saying, he speaks as a private citizen, not for the force. Last time he came with a proposal, the Last Line of Defense Act. He had it costed and named, and it was small enough that it can actually work. Welcome back to the Silvercore Podcast, Ian Sim.
Thank you, sir. Good to be back.
Why don't you catch us up? Because I know the details. I was like, hold on. Let's talk about this on air. What's happened between the last time you were here and now?
I have had the bumpiest 2 years of my life. But with that has come some new insights, some new thinking, partly out of necessity, but it's been an interesting 2 years.
There's some medical stuff that happened in between there too, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that one. Because
last Christmas,
yeah,
Christmas Eve, I was walking West Van Seawall. I went to Park Royal, where I used to work for 17 years. I went to Starbucks, no surprise, with my book, but didn't read. It's Christmas Eve. There's a buzz in the air. It reminded me of years ago when I used to work there. I love watching everyone go by. I'm a people watcher anyways. And just watch the world go by. Christmas Eve, I've got a great bottle of Spanish Rioja at home that I'm going to open when I get home. I don't know, watch Rudolph or something.
Sure.
Went home. Before that, I went to Indigo, one of my happy places. Went to Five Guys, had a burger. Christmas Eve, traditional Christmas Eve meal.
Totally, yeah. Five Guys, burgers and fries.
Got home, was looking at my phone in the kitchen, and I couldn't really focus on it. So I'm like, too much phone. Just poured myself a glass of that wine. Hadn't even had a sip. Went to the living room, turned the TV on, sat down, just about to take a sip of my wine, and I can't really focus on the TV. And I'm like, okay, that's messed up. And then I felt nauseous. So I put my wine down, $125 Spanish wine. Like, don't spill the wine. I don't drink that type of wine every day, but Christmas, I live alone. A bit of a treat. So, and then I got up to go to the washroom because I thought I was going to be sick. And when I stood up, my mobility was off, but I needed to get to the washroom because I don't want to throw up on my nice Persian rug. So I kind of crashed into the wall and slid my way along the wall to the washroom where it all passed. Passed meaning it went away. I wasn't sick. I felt good. And I'm like...
Yeah, but alarm bells have got to be going off.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, fuck you Five Guys for poisoning me on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, first thing goes to the mind,
And I'm like, but that would do the stomach. That's maybe where the nausea is coming from. That's not going to do my vision or my mobility. So I'm like, okay, I know what happened, but I don't know why. And I'm like, I think that was a stroke. A TIA, a small
transient intermittent ischemia.
There you go. I know I call it a commando attack. It's a probing.
Yeah, let's see
commando
attack.
See
what we can do. All right, we got it. Yeah.
Where is the weakness? Where's the opening? So I Googled it right away, and I'm like, yep.
Dr. Google says you're dying.
Yep. So in a critical incident, what you do is clearly important, but the order in which you do it is as important, perhaps more. So, 26 years in the RCMP, I've been to a few critical incidents and where you got to think or react very quickly. So my first instinct was save the wine.
Right.
So as I was walking back to the living room to grab the wine, I was kind of multitasking. I hit Uber because they're faster than any ambulance. They were 4 minutes out. I said yes. Picked up the wine, got to the kitchen, got the funnel, poured the wine back, pumped the air out, secured the bottle. Good, the wine's safe. Uber's thinking, I've got 3.5 minutes to be downstairs because I live alone. I'm clearly not going to jump in the car now.
Right.
Brush my teeth, clean underwear, Christmas socks, grabbed my book. I never go anywhere without a book. My pen, my wallet, ID, and my sister and mom's contact info in Halifax. And I was outside in 3.5 minutes. Uber pulls in. I'm said, hey, do you know where Lionsgate Hospital is? Yes. Do you know where the emergency department is? Yes. I said, look, dude, I'm having strokes. If I die or pass out in your car, sorry, but just go, right? Get me there, but go. Time is of the essence. And if I do pass out or die in your car, drag me in and tell them I'm having a stroke or drag them out, whatever. Try not to bump my head as we go along. And he goes, nope, we're good. I know where it is. And Uber is changed transportation, but this guy was brilliant. I walked in myself, Lionsgate, told Emerge, I think I'm having a stroke. And of course, they get lots of people that come to their window to be admitted and think they're doctors and they know exactly what's happening. And many times they know what's happening because it's happening to them. Sure. Whether I was having a stroke or not, who knows?
They probably put you right to the front of the line, didn't they?
They had me in fairly quickly. I told them I'm a police officer from across the street too, just all the help I can get. And then I sat in admitting it was a 4-hour wait list. One doctor working, Christmas Eve, wait your turn based on triage. So I sat down right beside the nurse's station and just sat. I didn't feel like reading, so I knew I wasn't feeling well. And there's quite a few people on there's a 4-hour wait list. So my vision starts to go again. Then I feel nauseous in the same order as before. And then I throw up all over the place, everywhere. So everyone moved back a bit of distance. And if I hadn't had an arm on the right-hand side of my chair, because I was at the end of the row of seats, I probably would have fallen over. I was just hanging by a thread, by the armrest. 2, 3, 4 minutes, I don't know, 5. It had passed. I felt 100% completely cured. I felt amazing. So there's that, fuck you, 5 guys. Just cover all the bases, right?
Sure.
So I get myself up, go to the washroom, clean up, rinse my mouth, all that good stuff. I aimed properly. Didn't get me, didn't get anyone. They cleaned it up, sat down again in my chair, because now it's my chair. There's no one around me. They've all moved way back.
Marking your territory.
Right? And I'm like, okay. So the nurses are paying attention. I mean, I sat beside the nurse's station for a reason. Location.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to find out if Dr. Sim is right in his prognosis or if it was 5 guys. I don't know. And this is over maybe an hour.
Sure.
I don't know, another time, half an hour, it all kind of blended. Vision goes again. I'm like, here we go. Throw up again.
But this time they give you a tray.
It's not a tray. It's a cool little plastic bag with handles that's got a little bit of rigidity to it, so you can kind of hold it from the bottom. Brilliant.
Okay. I remember as a kid in the hospital, and they give you, it looked like a little cardboard tray that they would put their utensils
Fish and
on.
chips, your chip tray.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd put like needles and whatever on there if they're working on you. This is what you got to throw up. I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, how's this going to work? I didn't end up throwing up, but...
Yeah. Well, I thought
that's proper.
I'm looking at the progress that barf bags have made.
Yes.
And I'm like, well done. Our healthcare dollars are clearly
we're catching up
partially, yeah. And so the nurse said, look, we'll come and get you here. I've moved my way up the list from 4 hours to pretty well at the top of the list. They're paying attention, as they always are. I go clean up again because it passes. She's like, you're next. Doctor's going to see you. Doctor comes in. He goes, look, we're firing you up for a CT scan. We'll talk when you're done. CT scan, come back down. Doctor says, we're keeping you overnight. There's something going on here. Neurologist will be in the morning. We're going to just tuck you away in a bed off in the corner, just behind, I don't know, door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. Just there's a curtain beside it. And we'll check up on you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. So I crash back there. It's a bit loud. As they work through the people, it gets quieter. It's Christmas Eve. Now it's Christmas Day. I didn't sleep. There's a lot on my mind. I'm not feeling well. I don't know, 5, 6 in the morning, just kind of waking up again because, you kind of go into your...
Yeah.
So now my internal clock is waking me up and I'm like, I kind of feel okay. I can hear everything, listening, just my vision hasn't gone. I didn't throw up again. I'm feeling okay.
Yep.
Well, let's see if I'm okay. Let's test, a level of consciousness, so I take my left hand and I open and close it as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then I take my right hand and I open and close it as fast as I can. So the big one started. The TIAs were, as I described them, little probing commando attacks.
Sure.
Looking for weakness, chink in the armor, just. But now it's D-Day. I felt like kind of some young German soldier who's a morning person who woke up in Normandy Beach to look out of the
everything
the bunker,
real.
while having your coffee. I drink tea, and there it is on the horizon. It's all there. And it's on. Like there's no doubt it's on. So when you were, just for the people listening, yep.
So your left hand, no problem, open, close. Your right hand, slow, open, slow, close.
Slow.
And is that still like that now, or are you able to get?
No,
okay.
I'm almost fully recovered for all intents and purposes, with one side effect. And we'll discuss that a bit later. But so again, what most of this is out of my hands. So now I need to get the attention of the nurses. But before that, because I could tell that it was the right side of my body being affected, there's a certain order to things. Like I saved the wine, pushed all my junk to the left so that it wouldn't get paralyzed. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I have no idea. But let's get it over there. I can hear the nurse just coming at the right exact moment just to check on me. And she's like, Mr. Sim. And I'm like, in here. Whose voice was that? It's affecting my voice. I can't talk properly, which is weird because Ian does a lot of talking. He's pretty good at it. So it sounded, you could tell what I was saying. Like she came in and I think I'm having a stroke. And she knew immediately. She goes, I know what you were saying. It just didn't sound like you. And I realized it didn't sound like me either. But I hadn't thought to talk at that moment. I mean, just when I figured out that my right side is starting to be paralyzed, she came in. The timing was perfect. And she just yelled, he's stroking, and yelled it. And I kind of describe it, it's not true. Like ninja doctors repelled out of the ceiling instantly. It was...
yeah, cold blue, they come pretty quick, right?
Well, blue is you're already... You're dead, but so it was a different code.
I thought cold blue was cardiac. And there's a heart, something to do with the circulatory system.
It might be the same code. She didn't call a code.
Okay. My favorite's code brown.
Yes.
Which
we know
pretty much what you'd think it means.
We know that in policing. Well, the military knows it too, like for real, because it's actually a thing.
Right.
But, and I was 5 a.m, 6 a.m, Christmas Day. They're at the tail end of their night shift. Like, everyone's just kind of cruising as you do towards that time of day on your night shift. The fire was lit. Everyone, it was all about Ian Sim. I was up to CT again for another CT scan. Neuro was now in the hospital. After the CT scan, I went down to trauma, and I'd bumped into that nurse before, and nurses, cops, whatever. Witty banter is just worth its weight in gold. So she's like, oh, like you again? Whatever. And she's like, Ian, there's 2 types of stroking. You're doing the wrong one. And I just couldn't help but laugh. And I smiled. I cracked a smile, and she's like, there it is, the half smile. Because of course.
Only one side can go, yeah.
Again, brilliant follow-up. I thought, I'm going to die laughing. I am going to actually
there's worse ways to go.
Die. Absolutely. I go, this is better than many ways that we see at work or can imagine. It was brilliant. And then neurologist comes in, and he first words out of his mouth, do you have anyone we can call? Always a good sign, right? I'm like, no, man, it's just me. And like, no one? I'm like, nope. I mean, I got a couple friends, but they don't need to know. So I realized that no one knows where I am. So I when I started getting sicker in intake, I fired off a Facebook message because my sister didn't, no one knew where I was. Like I said, it was just save the wine, save Ian, out the door, let's go.
Sure.
So I got a Facebook message out that I'm having strokes. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know. Stay tuned. Stand by. But so he comes down and he goes, okay, I don't have anyone to call. He said, well, you have a decision to make. The big stroke started, as you know, and you have a decision to make. So he said, there's 3 levels of intervention and we have to hurry. There's low, medium, and high. And I'm like, high. He goes, hold on. That can kill you too. So it's just getting better and better as we go. I'm like, I'd rather talk to her. She's funnier. So he explains it. Informed consent, obviously. There's no one else that has a say. Low, medium, and high, they're all drugs.
Okay.
The high one, 10 to 15% chance it's going to kill me. It either blows your head off or it blows the clot up.
Sure.
One or two. So he said, look, we found the problem.
And it's just like what, thinners, just to allow the blood to go through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clot-busters.
Clot-busters, okay.
Who are you going to call? Clot-busters.
Gotcha.
So he said, we found the clot. Good news is it's very small. So it's hard to see. He says, the bad news is it's in the worst possible spot, right on your brainstem. So he goes, we don't have time. I said, look, just hi, let's go. Get her done. He goes, you sure? I go, yep. He said, okay. Talked to another nurse who came down with him, and she's off to get the drugs because I'm crashing. So I sit there and I'm like, is this how it goes? Is this how I go? I wanted to go fighting terrorists and pirates and brigands, saving lives, and have it all videoed so I get a medal when I'm gone or something like. But that's not how it works.
No, it's not.
In my line of work, I meet people on a regular basis who got up, went to work or went to school or went to get on with their day and never came home.
That was it, yeah.
And that's how it works.
That's exactly how it works. It's like Bob Marley. What did he do? He stubbed his toe and then And then that was it. Cascading events. And maybe there was obviously underlying things ahead of that, but.
So I'm feeling cheated. Fuck you, not Five Guys, but just fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I don't even have a nice shirt on. Like, what's.
Yeah.
So, but that is just the way. Sometimes it's expected. It's terminal. It's age. You know what's happening. It's an injury or disease. And many times you don't get anything in the matter.
Well, we all know it's happening. Yet it's not real. It's not on the horizon for us. And most people never contemplate their own mortality.
Nope.
Not in any real way or visceral way, which you're thrust into, you're forced into in this one. How'd that change things?
Well, I had about 2 minutes till the nurse came back with my meds. I don't know. I kind of lost track of time. Everything, I don't know if it sped up or slowed down. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, one, I'm feeling cheated by death because fuck you. This isn't my plan. Ideally, we will have some notice. Friends, family, preparation, everything. But, maybe, maybe not. So I thought, well, if I die, my sister's going to kill me. My apartment's a mess. She's not going to know what to do with the guns. I don't have a will. Like, and I'm going through the list. And I'm like, it's not my problem anymore.
Yeah, it really isn't, is it?
So I'm either going to go back, declutter, which I'd already started, work on my apartment. I want to repaint it, blow out some windows, a few things. Or I'm going to go see my dad, who passed away in 2005. And we're going to catch up over a pint of Guinness. He's Scottish, but he liked Guinness.
Sure.
I guess I'm okay with either one. And that was it. And that was all in 30 seconds. I don't know how long it took until the nurse got back. She gave this cocktail. I like to say it's radioactive. It was bubbling. Smoke was coming off it. It was neon green. It was just clear meds that, they were going to put into my intravenous and my arm. And the doctor, said, look, you good? And I go, well, not really, because I wouldn't be if I was good. I said, I know what you mean. I said, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. And in it went. And he stepped back. Trauma nurse kind of stood in the corner. I just kind of looked at her.
Everyone held their breath.
And gave a nod, and he stood out. He was just stepped out, just off in the corner, and they're just kind of giving me what may have been my last minute or two, 3. So I kind of, gave the nurse a nod. We're all good, and just waited. And just waited.
Did you feel the meds as they're going through your body?
I did, but I don't know if it was physical or mental. But there did come a point 5 or so minutes in that I'm still not dead. And I kind of feel like someone, like I just drank a monster drink or something.
Full of energy?
Yeah, I felt like I could go for a run.
Yeah.
Well, I've never had a monster, but I've had
Yeah, me neither, actually.
I had 2 Red Bulls in Holland years ago. Separate story. But yeah, I'm like, I think this is going to work because I felt like I could go for, so a few more minutes, and I'm critically aware of how I'm feeling, and I'm moving my hands. I can't touch my junk. The nurse is there and stuff, but I'm like, I think this is working. So it worked. 10, 15 minutes in, and they didn't leave the room. They just kind of let me have my time, however long was left. And then it's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I feel amazing. And he goes, that's a good sign, right? And the nurses. And I'm like, ah. So, yeah. And then it was just routine they let me lie there for a bit longer. Looks like he's going to live. Let's get a room for him. We're clearly keeping him. So, yeah, and I'm like, okay, Merry Christmas.
What about side effects afterwards?
So there were afterwards. So 24-hour, I wasn't out of the woods yet. Good sign, still here, but bedridden for 24 hours because of the side effects of these meds, how strong they are. So they moved me up to the new ward at Lionsgate, the neurology observation unit, brand new wing. I had my own bedroom. It was huge. I had a bathroom and a shower in my room, way ahead of myself because I wasn't allowed to use either of them for a period of time. So all hooked up, checking you every 2 hours. So there was really no sleep. But I'm here. Yay. And she, the nurse came in and she goes, you can do anything you want in the bed. So you're stuck in bed for 24 hours at least. First world problems.
Sure.
Oh, well. Came through the 24 hours. And like every 2 hours they're checking on you. You're all hooked up. And that's fine. I don't mind. All first world problems. Now I can go to the washroom like a human being. I can walk across the hall, make my tea. I can chat to people a little bit. I'm not. So after I felt like I could go for a run after those drugs all came through, and I like to say, like I said, you could see the green going up my, none of it. But it was low and slow for a while, but I'm back. So just slowly, I didn't want to read. Like I felt like I'd been through, well,
emotionally that's got to take a toll.
Yeah, I was trying to deal with the physical stuff mostly, but I was exhausted.
Sure.
And I was exhausted from both the physical and the emotional. But like any critical incident, the processing comes after.
Sure.
You're just in it. It's on. Here we go. And if you get a chance to process it, good. But that has to be done over time, well rested, properly, all that good stuff. So I got out on the 27th, which is a pretty quick turnaround, December 27th. And I was allowed to, and there was a bunch of testing. I had to meet with rehab. I had to meet with neurology. I mean, the whole time.
Sure.
So, but I was cleared to walk out of there on my own. We're right across the street from my office. And I just grabbed my book and my phone and I walked out. There was one interesting thing that I noticed as I started to feel better, like 26, 27. I'll listen to music occasionally before I go to bed on YouTube. I don't know how to download. I don't know how Spotify or whatever it's called. I'll find some kid in my building to show me how to do it. But
Napster, yeah.
So, but and songs pop up. So 2 days, one 23rd or the 22nd, this song popped up on my phone. I don't know. And I'll sometimes click on different songs. I mean, I'll listen to a lot of the same stuff, but click on different songs because it's different. Let's check it out. So it was called Oceans Live in Israel.
Okay.
No idea.
Yeah.
There's this picture of this female singer with a crew cut, dark hair, and just down to a number one. I'm like, I don't know, hit it. It was a sunny day. Like it looked nice. It was a concert outside. Clicked on it. Just soft, nice, peaceful. And I was, it's good before bed. I'll listen to the metal in the morning. And she had a nice voice, but I very quickly realized it's a Christian song. It was obviously a Christian song. I don't know, no harm, no foul. It's not really my thing, but, I mean, I think most cops have a bit of romanticism in them in general.
Okay.
As well as
In what respect?
Well, policing is an old conservative bureaucracy. It's an old industry.
Sure.
And, riding in on a white horse with a white helmet or white hat, saving people's lives. There's a bit of tradition, a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of mythology, perhaps.
Sure.
Just a hint.
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
Some, and like everything, from A to Z in policing, very religious, not religious at all, and somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
So me, not so much. I went to church as a kid only because we got pie and ice cream after church, right? And we're kids. What do we care?
Sure.
So
I think that was the, as a kid, the same sort of thing. There was in White Rock area, Crescent Beach. They had a little churchyard. Across the street from the church, there's a bakery. And every so often, the bakery wouldn't be open on Sunday. And I'd feel totally gypped that I went in and I didn't get whatever it was afterwards. And I had no time and no patience for it, unless at the end, we're going to get whatever that sweet was for the bakery.
Right? So, and church was in North Van. My dad took us. Mom got to stay home because she had us all week. We'd get pie and ice cream at Edgemont Diner afterwards from Tony, the Asian guy that owned it. And church wasn't a bad place. I mean, I like people. It's kind of interesting. Went to a bit of Sunday school. The best part of church was, well, it only happened once, is it was Protestant church, United Church. I'm not sure if I don't think it's a priest, pastor.
I'm not sure.
Neither am I. But we were talking trust.
Okay.
And he said, I will give this $5 bill to any of the kids here that comes up. But you have to trust me, right? It's based on trust.
Okay.
Right? And you have to trust me. And I'm sitting there and I'm not.
I've heard different versions of this, but go on.
Yeah. So I don't, and I mean, it was decades ago, so I don't really remember it.
Sure.
I just remember there was money involved. It was a $5, and that's the most money I think I'd ever had. So I'm not one to I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want to be that person in the room. In policing, obviously, you often are that person. Sure. And not only are you that person, but you're in charge of things. You have to take control and the whole bit. So, I mean, that comes. Mm-hmm. But when I was 10 or something, not so much.
Sure.
And I have to walk down the aisle. It's the only time I walked down the aisle. I was married, but not in a church. And I got up there and to get the $5, and he holds it out. And then before he gives it to me, he stops me. He turns me around, and I have to face the whole church. And now he wants to have a nice chat. Did you trust me? Did you believe all this stuff?
Sure.
And I'm nodding yes. And now I don't.
You're like, it's $5. Of course it is. Come on.
Right. But, I was out of my comfort zone. Yeah. I'm this kid in front of church. At the end of the day, I walked back down the aisle with a $5 in my pocket, and we didn't talk anything. But Mom finds it in my pocket because, of course, I forget it. She's doing the wash. She's like, whose is this? It's clearly my shorts. I'm like, oh, the pastor gave me $5 at church the other day. And Mom's like, what? No one told her the story when we got home. I didn't. I just changed out of my church clothes and went to play, right? So anyways, so she wasn't sure if she trusted me about that. But it all came back. So yeah, this song, Oceans, live in Israel. And it was I liked her voice. I liked everything about it. The words were okay. Neither here nor there.
Just a catchy tune.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I like, work often can be chaotic, anarchy, just everything. Sure. So music before bed, I try and listen to Brothers in Arms, just Dire Straits, just stuff that can chill out, Pink Floyd even. But it was a lovely song. She had a great voice. The words weren't bad. I kind of liked some of them. And then the song was over. And I'm like, okay. There were a lot of things about that song I liked. It was outside. It was beautiful. She's kind of cool. So let's listen to it again. So listen to it again. Because when something interests me, I want more of it. That's a good glass of wine. I'm going to have another sip. That's a good book. I need more of it.
That's how we're wired, isn't it?
Yeah, right? People. I need more of you, right? So I listened to it a second time. And then I listened to it 2 more times. And I'm like, when's the last time I listened to 4 songs, brand new, in a row? Okay, it's bedtime. Just go to bed. Just kind of something out of character, something a bit different. Forgot all about it. And then when I turned my phone on in the hospital in the neuro observation unit on the 26th, I guess, by this time I just had the energy to turn my phone on. I can sit up a bit, getting a bit bored. I'm like, I'm going to listen to a bit of music. It's been a really shitty Christmas. It's been, and I'm exhausted. Like I've been up and down and up and down. And I don't know, I did everything right. I'm still here. They did everything right. And we'll take, you don't know whether it's Mr. Murphy or Lady Luck on your side sometimes. Sometimes there's one on each shoulder and you're like, really? So I want to listen to some music. And I thought I'd listen to my favorite live version of Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. But that song was first on my list. I guess because it was probably the last song I'd listened to before.
Makes sense.
Apparently they're algorithms. I don't know.
Apparently you like this song.
And
I'll give it to you again.
And I'm like, I need to listen to that song again. It was the perfect song. For all the same reasons, but I think a few different ones too. So I listened to that and I didn't move in my bed. And I was there for a while. And I don't know, I was there for a while. I'm like, let's just turn this off. I'm not going to do this here. But I just found it interesting that it's not if you said, this is the song I want you to listen to, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to it for you. But I'm probably not going to like it. And it grabbed me. And then it grabbed me again once I'd come through all that nonsense. I don't know, just little things that make you go,
So you feel like you're more receptive at that point, and were you reading something into that song? Did you?
No. I mean, the night I first heard it on the 22nd, the 23rd, I just liked it. It was outside on a sunny day. It started off nice and slow. Like I just liked the instrumental. She started singing. She had a great voice. She's got a great look, crew cut, or not crew cut, but shaved her head. It's just warm, inviting, nice atmosphere, everything. And then the words, I'm like, oh, this is clearly a Christian song. Yeah. But it's not a bad Christian song. It's not in your face, rah, 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 like a pep rally. It was beautiful.
Did it awaken in you spirituality?
That was always there.
Okay.
A healthy dose of romanticism, a healthy dose of nostalgia, all of it. All of it. And I'm like, because like I said, when did I last listen to a song 4 times back to back? So I'm like, okay, 4 times is enough. Let's sleep on it, like many things. Just leave it. But I just felt going to bed that night was awesome, right? I mean, I sleep well anyway. So, but yeah. And then when it popped up first on my phone, algorithms, other people have different ideas as to why that was, but I'm like, I need to hear this again.
I feel like you're
feel
like you're dancing around something because you've.
Well, no, I mean, I'm pretty much an open book. And probably because I was the last year and a half at work had been dark, rough. I'd already been doing a lot of thinking about everything, mostly about getting healthy. And that comes I don't know. I mean, some people say to get healthy, the North American version, a burger and a beer. Okay, well, that works once a week, but
Sure.
I'm not sure it's going to work every day.
Sure.
And then for trauma and mental health challenges, the old standby hookers and blow, well, that's off the table, clearly. So I was just working on...
Or grin and bear it, right?
Yeah,
Toughen up.
old school, yeah. Suck it up, princess.
That's right.
So no, I stepped away from work as a peer-to-peer counselor for the RCMP, which is a program that people at every office and multiple people at a larger office, detachment, precinct, whatever you want to call it. We don't call them precincts, but all the Canadian public that watch American cop shows might.
Yeah, it's just a misdemeanor, right? Everyone knows that
my Miranda rights.
That's right.
Can you call your lieutenant?
Mm-hmm.
It just goes on and on. But so, yeah, I recognized when I was starting to have some challenges at work, I realized something was off. Music comes into this as well. Well, I guess we'll start there.
Well, hold on. Before I forget.
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting. Well, there's two things. One thing at the back of the head, which is completely ancillary to this whole thing, but you probably, speaking of strokes, you probably heard about those 3 women on the park bench, and the flasher came and flashed them. And the witnesses saw the first one right away had a stroke. Second woman beside her had a stroke, and the witness said the third woman probably would have had a stroke, but she couldn't reach. Anyways, that was one thing, but I got a message here. Let's see what it is. Comes through Signal, just out of curiosity. No, it's different. Seb, good friend of mine.
Yep.
You know Seb Lavoie?
Yep.
When he had his leg amputated, and they were unable to, well, they're supposed to put a nerve blocker in for the pain, but they didn't. They didn't have it in the right place. He was in turn up to 11 pain on the dial, and he said the song that he listened to over and over and over again, it turned out to be also similar thing, was a Christian one, but was Rescue by Lauren, looks like Daigle.
Daigle or Daig?
D-A-I.
I know it. I sent a song from her that she did to a girlfriend in Tasmania yesterday.
What's interesting is he sent me that one this morning, and he said, this is what got me through, and I listened over and over and over again.
And, is there any such thing as a coincidence, right? I mean, I don't read too much into some things. There's often a trail of blood, popcorn, breadcrumbs, or there's also a trail that's not obvious. You can't see it. What I've realized after my big adventure at Christmas is I need to get some stuff done. So it was all on my to-do list.
So what do you need to get done?
I need to tell you when I met Kyle Lamb. Went to Vegas a number of years ago, the only time I went to Vegas, for the Safari Club International convention. Apparently people go to drink and sit by the pool, just not me. But I went to Safari Club convention, and I thought, well, I'll kill a couple birds with one stone. After the convention, I will go and drive down to southern Arizona. Is Arizona border the Mexican border? Yeah. So I had a good friend down there in Sierra Vista. So it's
Mexico, New Mexico? Yeah, no, the border, yeah.
So Sierra Vista, he can see Mexico from his backyard.
Right.
So David is ex-Special Forces, Rhodesian, South African. So I said, I'll meet him too. In Vegas, I was in the lineup at Mandalay Bay. We're just checking in. And I don't know, there's a husband and wife in front of me. And he turns around and I'm like,
it's Kyle and Melinda.
Mr. Lamb. He doesn't know me from Adam. I've just seen his stuff. And he's like, yeah. And I said, we started chatting. We're stuck in a big lineup. Start chatting, introduce myself. What are you doing? This and that, blah, blah, blah. I've seen some of your work. And then we start talking because the lineup's slow, and we're just so. She said, "Oh, I've been up to Vancouver with my son, skied Whistler. Yeah, what do you do up there? Oh, I'm RCMP, and of course, most Delta guys are pretty impressed when you say you're RCMP. I mean, they got pictures of us up in their barracks and all that stuff. So
I hope yeah, fair enough.
So and then we started chatting about. I was talking to some of the. Do you know one of the Millbrook guys? This guy, he says like, "Oh, is he that little guy? Funny." I go, "Yeah." And we just start going off and having a chat. And that was it. Pleasure. Enjoy your time. You ask what I'm doing and stuff. So, and then you mention his name, and that's the only time I met him. But I follow his work, and then, like I said, I'd like to see where Seb lives. I just want to see more of everything. Like Lauren Day comes up out of the blue through Seb. And then Kyle, you mentioned Kyle and...
Yeah, I don't know if these things are all out of the blue, though.
It's a small world we live in.
It is, but it's also where we put our attention. And I think, what did Shakespeare say? It's neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so, right? And oftentimes I look at things, and in hindsight, you look back and you say, oh, everything was there. All the evidence was there. And maybe it was, right? Maybe it was and you're blind to it. Or maybe our brains are really good about after the fact being able to put all this stuff together. And I mean, in the expert witness area, you realize that quite often we are our own worst witnesses, right? Because your brain's got the ability to convince you of things that might not actually have been the reality for somebody else, right?
And memory is as we now know, is imperfect.
Right. But in all of that, like when I look and I say, well, doesn't matter, right? When you're at the end point and you look at it and you say, oh, it's because of all of this. Like, it really doesn't matter how you got there or what you were looking at. Really what matters is how you feel about it now and what you're going to do with it. Yep. And if you can point it back to anything that you want to, and it's for a positive thing in your life and those around you, fantastic. But I'm not yet convinced of all of these little things that are lining up as being
chance,
weird coincidences.
Yeah,
but I do think that we put our attention to certain things, which, and it was funny because I brought it up with Kyle, and I don't think my explanation was 100% on there, or maybe it was just stupid and he was being kind and not calling it out. But I said it's like Jeep drivers. Because he was talking about a friend of his and how he can see all of these things happening. So, my son just got a Jeep. And all of a sudden he says, there's Jeeps everywhere. Well, the Jeeps are always there. You're just open to seeing them now.
The minute I bought a Mazda, they were everywhere.
Right, of course, right?
Yep. Well, and we're a product of our environment.
Mm-hmm.
We get the parents we get. We have control over what we have control over.
Which is?
Well, I'd say like your 3-foot world. Like initially, we live in our 3-foot world, and then it goes out from there. So, but we have control over how we react to all those things that we have no control over.
I think that's the only control. According to Viktor Frankl, right? The only control you really have is how you choose to respond to what's done to you.
So, as we know, bad things happen.
Sure.
Bad things happen every day in Canada to good people. And by bad things, I mean terrible, horrific things in our big cities, in our small towns, and everywhere in between, in the middle of nowhere. It's just, they're like the lottery in a bad way. Someone wins the lottery every week in Canada. But it's not me, it's not you.
Well,
we win different lotteries.
Sure.
So bad things happen all the time, but I mean, no one thinks crime's going to happen to them until it does. Or bad things are going to happen, and it happens all the time. Most of which you never see in the media. I said we're but seconds away from catastrophe. Because it's happening somewhere right now in this country, maybe even in the city. It's just that certain things a lot of it doesn't make the news. But we see it, of course, in our industry. So, we can control we control how we choose to react. And if you have coping strategies through training, wisdom, experience, age, dumb luck, mentorship, leadership, a guide, you can navigate all those things that you on your own might not be able to navigate. So, and everyone you meet, everyone's a stranger until they're not. That
We'll just move the mic a little closer.
A little closer.
There you go.
That friend I was going down to Arizona to visit after the Safari Club convention. I met, well, here, and I guess, is this another coincidence? I meet Craig Bone, the artist, at the Safari Club convention. I was familiar with Craig's work, painting, wildlife paintings primarily, but also Christian paintings. And he's known primarily for his wildlife work. He was in the Rhodesian Light Infantry until a mortar round in Mozambique connected with his leg, and that was it. But so, and then I just bumped into him because I like his artwork, and he does a little bit of military art. He's done, I think, a whole book for the Marine Corps and done some paintings for the Marine Corps as a way to give back to his wider community, veterans, and serving soldiers. So he's like, "Oh, where are you from? Canada? Why you here? Check out the convention. Getting into hunting, interested in Africa, just all of it." And then I'm going down to visit a buddy in Arizona there. And so he's like, "Well, how'd you meet them?" Like I said, "Well, it's David Scott Donlan." And he goes, "I know David, right? From Rhodesia." So they know each other. It's a small world. And now we're chatting and, let's get a picture and show David. And again, I meet Kyle Lamb in the lineup. And we've got, a person or two in common. I meet Craig Bone there, just, I don't know, by accident, I would say, but I don't know, are there really accidents? And then I drive down after the convention through the desert by myself, beautiful, and to see my buddy David. And on the way down, there's a lot of desert driving from Vegas down to Sierra Vista. And you just kind of zoned out a little bit, driving through the desert, the big blue sky, the desert. And I see something off to my right moving. Movement gets our attention quickest. And I think, it's a bird. Well, no, it's a huge bird. So I look over, and there's no traffic. I'm in the middle of the desert. There's just nothing. And I think it's a Reaper drone. It's huge. It's a monster. It's the size of a jet fighter. Like it's
coming to check you out.
And I guess they train down there. There's a military base, Fort Huatuca maybe, and this huge flying pterodactyl flies gently from my right all the way across, and it's not making any noise. They're quiet. They're not jet. I think the propeller. So, and this magnificent, prehistoric, futuristic pterodactyl flies in front of me, and I'm like, I think I had a religious experience. It was just bizarre. It was
from the drone.
So wild.
Yeah.
In the desert by myself, a couple hours into the drive. I'm almost down at Sierra Vista, and I don't know. It was just those little things that stick with you. So I get down to David and I tell him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, they train here, they train there." I'd met David in the 80s. I was interested in, I've been interested in terrorism, special forces, counterinsurgency warfare ever since, I don't know, weird kid, but.
Like all kids, right?
Well, I grew up in elementary school with World War II books,
Sure.
Time Life, I think, in the library.
Yeah.
Every Saturday and Sunday, it was World War II or Korea War movies. Guns, planes, cool.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone in that one.
Yeah, no. So I wanted to do VIP. The Cold War was still on.
Mm-hmm.
I was following terrorism by now, went from warfare to terrorism. Europe was a hotbed of terrorism in the 70s and the 80s.
Bader-Meinhof
And stealing their Bader-Meinhof wagons. The BMW stands for Bader-Meinhof wagon. Red Brigades in Italy, ETA in Spain, direct action in France, IRA, right? Dad being from Scottish, my center of my military world was kind of British, SAS, colonialism, India, Africa. So I thought if I'm going to get into VIP security, close protection, personal security detail, whatever it's called now, close protection, I think. So I contacted, because I knew the British SAS was doing stuff like that. So I just phoned the British SAS up. There was no computers and internet stuff. I knew that they operated out of Duke York Barracks. They had a presence in London. I just looked up directory assistance and did some homework and phoned to Duke York's barracks. And
it's amazing how much you can get just by putting in that little bit of legwork, eh?
And I asked for someone from Survival Wing, Mountain and Arctic Warfare, or Survival Wing, or something, whatever the SAS called that unit. And hello, got some English guy chatting with me on the phone. Told him I'm interested in survival school training courses, and my guess is the best courses are probably either current or ex-members of you guys. And he's like, yep. And then also like VIP security bodyguard, because they were big and heavy into that, because during the terrorism campaigns in Europe, executive protection, bodyguarding was huge.
Sure.
So he's just chatting. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, my name's Ian Sim. He goes, that's a good Scottish name. And I could tell he was English. And I said, you got a lot of Scotsmen in the regiment? And he goes, what, poison dwarfs? Short little wee guys that can carry a house up and back down the hill for a week straight, like this. And we just chatted away. And he said, "Oh, here's a couple of names." He's not going to tell me, like, he doesn't actually know, but he can tell I'm younger, and we're chatting away. Here's a company you might want to try this and that. So I go to an executive protection against terrorism course in the States. It's a British company. So they come over. And Dennis Martin, who was well known in the British close protection community as well as the martial arts community, it was kind of his company, CQB Services.
Okay.
He had one of his head instructors was a tall guy named John Lofty Wiseman.
Yep. Everyone knows that name.
They do now. This is before he wrote his book, or maybe when it just came out. David Scott Donlan, ex-Rhodesian Special Forces, South African Special Forces. Couple of American kind of gun writers. One was a cop who wrote in the gun magazines. Leroy Thompson was another one who wrote guns, knives, special forces, but he worked in close protection for years. So he wrote in Soldier of Fortune, SWAT magazine, like all the way back.
Is that magazine still around?
No.
I remember going to the gun shows as a kid and picking up the Soldier of Fortune magazines. Like, these are amazing.
Yeah, your eyes popped out of your head. Right. Same thing. So a couple other, a U.S. Secret Service deputy special agent in charge for George Bush Sr. So I went to the States, took this course. My eyes kind of popped out of my head because I'm like, this is awesome. These guys are like off the charts. Went down the next year and took the same course over to get prepped up. Because I was thinking, well, and I was also taking Russian lessons at the same time. Cold War is still on.
As one does, yes.
I want to be a spy, intelligence work. Russian would obviously help.
Yeah.
Started taking lessons, like, again, weird kid. But yeah, so that's where I met David Scott Donlan. And we clicked. And Lofty and Dennis, the Brits, and just, they were all good guys. So David and I kept in touch afterwards. David had moved after the Rhodesia. So David Scott Donlan was in the RLI. then Tracker Combat Unit, which kind of morphed into the Selous Scouts, but then he went C Squadron, Rhodesian SAS. I guess he had a bit of a falling out with the CO, so CO probably won't leave, but so he left and he went to Selous Scouts, where he was the training officer, set up all the training, selection, the whole bit. Interesting stories. And then he went south to the Recce's afterwards. And then after the war, he moved to the States and he taught combat tracking all over the world for decades. So I hadn't seen David. CQB Services, that British firm, and all the guys went to Fort Lewis a year after that, maybe too. So I popped down to visit the gang on their after class. David and I always stayed in touch. John Wiseman and I, Lusty Wiseman, also kept in touch. I went to Hereford a year or two after that. And I'd been to Gunsight after, I guess, a couple times.
So did you do much CP work after
None.
doing?
I was working in the grocery store, Super Value Park Royal in West Vancouver. But as a young guy, my parents and my sister moved to New Brunswick when I was in grade 12. So I was out on my own, just reading.
Sure. Figuring it all out.
And trying to get trained up. And by luck, or partly because of my research, is nailing these kind of high-profile, awesome instructors.
So what did you learn from those instructors and from those days that would be applicable to people now? Because I see you've got a couple of books here. We've got Ending Violent Crime, it looks like, in the first 30 seconds. Seems like your background and your research and the work you've done would be accumulating to something that would be effective for people today.
I think I have some marketable skill sets. Well, I know I do. I was at Use of Force conference at the Justice Institute not that long ago, and you got recruiting tables there from Surrey Police Service and other places. And you're networking with, it's not all cops at the Use of Force conference. So, what do you do? Who are you? And well, you know what? I'll be retired in a couple of years. I'll be a free agent in the not too distant future. And everyone's passing you your card, right? Come over to SPS, do this, do that. So I'm just in the information gathering phase. I'm kind of drinking through a fire hose right now. I know what's out there, but I don't know what I don't know.
Who put on that conference this year?
It was, it wasn't this year because of FIFA.
Right.
So the JI, the Justice Institute of British Columbia, canceled it because of FIFA, and they'll pick it up again next year. So the JI, the Justice Institute of BC, the JIBC, sponsors it.
But it wasn't put on by them. They sponsor it.
They sponsor it? No, I think they put it on.
Okay.
And it's run through the JI.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
I remember doing some through the TTC going back a few years. Actually, right before COVID, the last class that was run before everything was shut down for COVID at the TTC was a Use of Force conference.
Yep.
I think Chris Butler was one of the ones that helped and organize it. He's been on the podcast as well.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to, someone said I should present at the next one.
Sure.
Why not? Right now, at this stage of the game, for much of your life, well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've got way more time in the rear view than I've got out the front windscreen.
Sure.
So since my strokes, colors are brighter, food tastes better. Any familiar face is like an old friend. Like I feel, I call it, I'm in the afterglow. I'm not sure how long it's going to last. I'm still in it. And it might last, hopefully, till the end. But you can't see it right now, but I'm oozing gratitude and thanks. There's a big puddle of it
there's a very
underneath
big
me.
Difference in you here than you the last time you sat in that chair here. And you can see it.
And I can feel it.
Yeah.
I got some catching up to do. But I am restricted by the same thing we all are, which is time.
Sure.
But we know people who get a lot done and live 2 or 3 lives in the time that some people live 1 or not even.
Yep.
So when I met, Lofty and Dennis and David and Scott Donnellan and I knew where they came from. I knew what they've done within reason. So I went to Hereford, and John lives in Hereford. The SAS are based in Hereford.
What color is the boathouse?
Pardon me?
What color is the boathouse?
I don't know. It was so, and I don't know if it was.
It's a reference to the movie Ronin.
Okay.
Fair enough.
The Green Man pub's probably still there. Yeah, so I'm in Hereford, and John's there, lives there, wife, and I think he's got 7 kids. My dad's there too. My dad was visiting friends there. So again, let's kill a few birds with one stone.
Sure.
So yeah, John takes me out. We have a pint and chat, shows me around a little bit, takes me to a buddy's house, ex-regiment, who wrote a book called, I can't remember the title, One Man's SAS. His name is Lofty Large.
Okay.
Lofty Large. So that alone will bring up the book.
One man's army. Is that it?
Maybe.
One or No Man Left Behind? I think there is that
I don't think that one. But Lofty Large.
Okay.
And we're chatting, and Lofty's got some books on his, and he's got this one book. It's a 12 by 12, 8 by 14, whatever, thin book. It's all photos of the war in Oman. So it's the regiment, the SS regiment in Oman. And it doesn't have a dust cover. The cover is the color photo. And the photos inside are brilliant. And it was one of the SS officers that took all the photos on his old Leica camera. And they're spectacular, right?
Sure.
He's got a Leica camera, desert light. His subject matter are brilliant. And I'm like, oh, and I'm just a book freak.
Sure.
So I can get Lofty's book, and I did. I ordered it. But yeah, this is it was a private release. There's not many of them around, this and that, rah, rah, rah. So I tracked one down years later in Hong Kong and grabbed it, and I still have it today. And there's a picture of John Wiseman, Lofty Wiseman, in the book. And of course, you've read the stories about the Battle of Mirbat and the regiment's presence in Oman. And then, of course, you hear a couple stories from John. And then the book's brilliant. I still have it to this day. So that was fun. Great, kind of playing tour guide. We're driving back. He's going to drop me off, and he's like, "Oh, you want to come by the camp?" Like,
of course, yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, sign me up.
I was like inside. I was freaking out. You want to come by the camp? Like the British SAS camp? Yeah. Like I was just. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that'd be awesome. He says, well, we'll swing by the camp tomorrow. So I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I mean, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven being trained by these guys a couple years earlier. As it turns out, the next day we don't get to go to the camp because his sister's sick. She ends up in the hospital or something. So he passes me off to one of his ex-regiment guys. You want to go hike Brecon Beacons where we do selection? Yeah,
Yep.
man. Let's go.
Go do the fan dance.
So away we go. It was just me, him, and the dog. And we just chat, talking. So, but we make our own luck in this world to a great extent. I researched these courses, picked these courses, went and trained with them. Now you've got connections with these people. And I went to connect with them when they were in Fort Lewis. And my dad's in Hereford. Why don't I pop over and see Dad and John?
Yeah, we do make our own luck. It's it's funny how your world changes the second you stop just accepting everything that happens to you and start thinking about what can happen for you and how can you affect what happens for you. Even I remember, I think it was grade 10, Simple Things, the author of Shoeless Joe, The book that Field of Dreams was based on, W.P. Kinsella, in typical ADHD fashion. I leave that book report till, I don't know, the night before. What do? I find out where the guy lives. I heard he was somewhere in Canada. Turns out he had a phone number up in Hope that would then transfer down to a property he has in White Rock, which had an answering machine that left a forwarding number in, I think it was Florida or California. He was on the beach and he ends up taking a call from me, and I do my whole book report there. Because you take those extra steps to follow through, and makes for a fun story. I got an A on the book report, which I left to the last moment, and the teacher gave me a copy of the book because he was so impressed after he finished giving a whole bunch of baseball anecdotes. You're not trying to fly one over in left field, are you? Or I'm like, what are you even talking about? I wasn't even following the book, let alone. But in the same way, like you call up over to the UK, you get put in with the right people. Is that luck? Or did you make it happen? And I would say 100%. We author our own destiny.
Yeah.
And what we want to do with that afterwards, because it's one thing to talk to W.P. Kinsella and get the book report, but once that connection is open, you've got that opportunity to further explore where that could take you and what you can do with that for others. Because I find that the offers will dry up pretty quick if it's a one-way road. If it's always one person always going out looking for what they can get from, let's say it's Lofty. Hey, what can I get? What can you teach me here? There's got to be some reciprocity in some way of value that you bring back, and that's your responsibility after you make those connections.
Well, I don't think I brought anything or taught Lofty anything. However...
But the value doesn't have to be you teaching him. It could be you taking what he's taught you and helping others.
So he knew that here's a kid, young man who clearly has a serious and mature interest in the regiment that I just spent 26 years with, having got in at the youngest age of anyone at 19 and leaving as the regimental sergeant major. And we were out, coming back to the car and stopped and met one of the officers from the regiment. And we're having a chat and, he introduces me and this, that. And I was like, none of these guys look like supermen or heroes. They're not big, jacked, tattooed. They're not.
Yeah. And a lot of them actually are quite small. And
yes.
And you know what I liken it to? It's like going up the Coquihalla. You got a great big semi truck going up the Coquihalla. Yeah, you can probably carry a lot of weight. You're going to burn a lot of fuel. You're going to go slow. But you get a small kind of sports car going up there that's a bit more surgical. It's going to burn way less gas. It's going to get up there faster. And it's way less damage and wear and tear on the vehicle, so it can do that trip again. And that's what these special forces guys are like. They're quite often shorter, higher muscle to body mass ratio as opposed to the muscle you'd need if you're a big 6'6" guy like myself.
Poison dwarfs.
There you go. And it's a mindset or a mentality, which is, I remember when I was first introduced to it was just hiking up Mount Beautiful here. And my boots were just full of blood from the blisters that had been torn up. But I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing with the people I'm with. I got to be tough. And then another guy's like, oh, I'm kind of getting cold. And they're like, well, stop and administrate yourself. I'm like, hold on a second. Like, I wasn't going to be that guy talking about any discomfort. But that mindset of not just grin and bear it and tough it out, it's, no, we'll just have a cup of tea and we'll just get something warm on and then we'll get up and we'll keep going because we're going to do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Whereas the person just wanted to tough it out, they're done at the end of that one day. So different mindset, different way of approaching the problem. Totally not what Hollywood would have you think.
No, and some look the part. That's fine. Guys in the regiment in the 70s and the 80s, there's differences now, and that's just fine. Society changes. Your raw material is might look and talk a bit different. Whatever. Selection hasn't changed, but that was. It was what came out of their mouths, which was the value, not some sort of hero syndrome that, you were in the SAS. I love witty banter. I like joking around, but I like being serious about the stuff that we should be serious about.
When it's time to be serious.
And that's not most of the time.
That's right.
It just isn't. So
Robin Horsfall, he was at the Iranian embassy siege.
Yep.
He's been on the podcast, and he gave a perfect example about that. And they had other units from, I think he was saying the Americans were there, and they're looking at these crazy British people, and they're just joking around and goofing around, and like, you're supposed to take it serious, you're supposed to be gung-ho, hoorah. And, well, when it's time to be gung-ho, hoorah, the switch flips, and away they go. But you can't maintain that level the entire time.
Well, and Lofty was saying, we were talking about Delta Force, because, Charlie Beckworth, and he goes, oh, old Charlie, who founded Delta Force. So, we went down to Fort Bragg to the compound and checked it out. And he goes, their armorer's room just stretched out. The benches for the armorer's room and bright lights and just all the fancy tech and everything. He goes, our armorer's bench in Hereford's like 12 feet. It's just 2 6-foot tables stacked together. He told me he was in Malaya, Borneo, fighting there. And he was on point, lead scout. And he said, all of a sudden, this big orange man, we just crossed paths. Very close, dense triple canopy jungle. And it's an orangutan. And he's standing there looking at this orangutan, and the orangutan staring, looking at him. And Lofty's like, he's kind of scary, right? SAS, SLR, FN rifle, like, what are you afraid of? But it's, and they would see a lot of wildlife. Now, he said, we just looked at each other for a few seconds and just carried on our merry way. And they say you'd see a lot of wildlife just sitting, walking, as we know when we're out.
Sure.
Which is part of the whole experience. Hunting. I've never got an animal once. Well, bird and a rabbit in Scotland. I've been out with groups we've got animals. But me personally, I've passed on a shot that I thought was unethical. Golden. That's probably one of my best hunting experiences.
It's good to pass on that.
Didn't take a bear last year. Just too far. Straight out too far. I'm like, nope, because I had a fixed 4-power scope.
Sure.
So, but I'm not sure I can call myself a hunter. I hike with a rifle, but I'm not sure I'm a hunter. I'm joking. But it's the camping and hiking and being in nature. I call it vitamin N, vitamin nature. I've always spent time out trail. I live in North Van, so I can trail, I can hike. Like I've never run in cement for decades.
See, I got vitamin C, which is Hawkins cheesies, and I always take those out when I'm hunting, much to the chagrin of the people I'm with, because they come in those hard, crinkly bags.
I love those.
They're amazing. And the number of Americans who's listened to the podcast and who've now asked, what is this Hawkins cheesies thing you're talking about?
And they'll never be the same.
Last time we were together was at the National Firearms Association's AGM.
Yep.
And they'd asked me to do a little talk there, which I did. You should do a talk for them because you've got a lot of ideas when it comes down to firearms laws, firearms policy. And of course, we've got this court challenge that's coming up in a little bit. Have you been keeping up on any of that?
A little bit.
Okay.
Canadian courts and our legal system, I won't call it a justice system. I haven't called it that, I think, since
it's a judicial system.
My first week in the RCMP, but our courts and our policing are better than many parts of the world, the majority of the world. Having said that, there's room for improvement. As you well know.
Sure.
I'm on CKNW and have been for years on a fairly regular basis if it's related to national security, terrorism, public safety, policing, things like that. My name is Sean.
Yeah.
I'm a police officer. They don't know who I work for. And they don't know where I work for. And I'm not hiding anything. It just allows me to be honest, straight up. Not brutally honest. It's just honest. It allows me to, without worrying about Ottawa headquarters in Surrey, someone taking offense. Like, I'm not out to cause any embarrassment or controversy, as my dad would say, to the outfit. But just it's not relevant to the topic. So it allows me to be as candid as I can and give the best answer that I can when I'm on CKNW.
How do you find that?
It was scary phoning into CKNW because I'm in the car and it's now and it's, oh crap, what am I going to say? Right? I'm going to be on there for 30 seconds. I'm going to have to make something up. Well, like my buddy said, dude, you could talk for 3 days. Like, but you've got to pull over, you're driving, whatever. Sometimes I know the topic inside and out.
Sure.
And some days I do better than others. And other days I'm like, oh, that didn't go well. I totally missed that, but I was in a hurry.
But you get better the more you do it.
Absolutely. So the talking, like public speaking, like I'll never shut up if it's just a few friends. But to a bunch of strangers or in a group or at the Justice Institute in front of all your peers or at the UNBC talking to all the municipal councils and mayors, or it's like, that's different. But that's okay. I have presented to, well, CKNW, I used to, Linda Steele, who is the wife of Norm Lipinski, who was the former chief constable at Surrey Police Service. She knew I was a cop. She knew me as Sean. She didn't know who I worked for or anything. So I would chat with her a fair bit. She's not on CKNW anymore. CKNW phoned me one time to do a national show that evening on a policing matter. So I did it from my supervisor's SUV at UBC in the parking lot. I just turned my radio off. It makes you better. It allows you to gather your thoughts, sometimes in very short notice. What are the key points? 1, 2, or 3, because you only got so long to talk. Like, what do you want to leave them with?
Have you talked at all about any of the recent firearm stuff and the court challenges?
Not as much because I don't seem to be in my car as much.
Okay.
I would phone from work if there's nothing going on and I have time, because I think part of my role as a police officer, as public servant, agent of the state, first responder, I hate that term, is to give back to the community in non-enforcement ways, like just being
available and present,
and a good ambassador. So get out of your car, walk. I was on a mountain bike section in North Van years ago. That section doesn't even exist anymore, right? Resourcing, it's gone. I'm quite sure that the new bosses there would love to have it back, but it depends on Ottawa. It depends on headquarters in Surrey. It depends on the government fund. It depends on a lot, but I think I owe it to the people I work for. Like, I can remember being at the top of Trail 6 for Wreck Beach because I was in charge of policing Wreck Beach for, 7, 8 years. I get to UBC, brand new. UBC had been a bit of a mess for a couple of years before I got there. But when I got there, they'd had 2 new bosses. The other guy was gone. And good bosses. One was a bit of a legend in Surrey. He was awesome. And he's really good with people. And he said, as he got to know me, he didn't take long. He goes, "You're good with people." And I said, "I like people. Still."
Yeah, so far.
Not as much, but generally, yes. And he goes, "You're in charge of Wreck Beach." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "You're in charge of Wreck Beach. For all these reasons." And he was right on all of them. So I guess I was in charge of Wreck Beach. But standing at Wreck Beach, top of Wreck Beach one night. So Wreck Beach is an interesting place. It's probably the oldest clothing optional beach in the country. There's real hippies there still, like not just kind of want to be second, third generation. Like there's real hippies that were probably at Haight-Ashbury in 68. There's not many left, but so it's an alien planet, as I call it, within an alien planet, which is the university itself, which is a left coast university. Doesn't matter, left coast, East Coast universities are just interesting places. So standing at the top, and everyone knows me on the beach after years. And someone goes by, and then people go by and they go, "Hey, boss." And you know the difference between boss, the prison term, or
SOB.
Boss, like it's a term of respect. And you know the difference.
Sure.
You know who's saying it. You know them. Some, you become your friends. You become either part of their community or they become part of your community. But, and I'm like, so when they would say boss, and I know that they were being respectful. The other time I knew when they weren't.
Sure.
I'm like, actually, you've got that backwards. And they're like, pardon? I go, yeah, you just call me boss. You've got it backwards.
I work for you.
You're my boss. You're my boss. I work for you. And I work for all those people. And that's just not a party line. That is how I approach my work. I work for you. Yeah, I have a head office, but I run for lack of a better word, a franchise. I'm the franchise owner, one employee. So I report to the organization, to the RCMP, but I work for you. I don't work for them. I work for you. I will do the best job for you and them that I can do, no matter the semantics. But I work for you. Always have, always will. And you know, we get into philosophical discussions on the beach. It's a university, international students from all over the world. So, but at the core, that's it.
Yeah, I remember Wreck Beach, my only real experience there. At nighttime, we had a party. I think it was early 20s, and there's a party out at UBC, and they're like, "Oh, let's go have a beach fire. We'll go to this beach." And so we go down this long set of stairs all the way down to a beach, and they had booze and a big fire. And of course, as a young, in your 20s guy, a fire is not just a little fire. It's, let's just get all the logs you can find and stack them up, and how big of a fire can we make? And
stay warm.
That's right. Just massive fire down there on the beach, and ended up sleeping on the beach and waking up in the morning and just screaming and crying, and it was almost like a war movie, and Adagio for Strings is playing in the background, and people are just beside themselves, and I'm like, what's going on? And people are coming up, they're pointing at me and this other fellow, like, you burnt down my house, this was my house. And like, there was logs on the beach that some of them, I guess, were put in a bit of a square, and that became their house, and it was kind of the end of the world for these people.
You know what? It's a colorful clientele.
Yeah.
But so is the world around us.
Totally.
You know, I went to UBC for a number of reasons. They'd had a rough couple of years with the boss, the detachment commander, I believe it was, and the operations sergeant. It was one or two, either or. And they needed, so UBC is often very junior members, their first posting. So a gal I worked with at FSOC, Federal Serious and Organized Crime, she'd already gone over there and got her bump, got promoted, and she was the corporal in charge of, she was the community liaison officer there. So he goes, look, I know you always like to get back to uniform and this and that. We could really use a steady hand out here, and you know, some senior members. Come on, visit. We've got good bosses now. It's a very interesting place. And she goes, I think you'd do well here. So yeah, I went out and was very quickly task to deal with Wreck Beach. So I wouldn't have it any other way. It's an alien planet within an alien planet, particularly during COVID, BLM.
Well, you're the right person to be doing that down there. There's different personality types, and some of these personality types would just be inflammatory in an environment like that. So that's clearly somebody knew what they were doing when they thought of you as a person to be going down there.
And the reason is this Sergeant Drew Granger. He's retired now. He had a very well-deserved reputation in Surrey. And then I'd heard of him because you heard about the problem children, you heard about the rock stars.
Sure.
And I'm like, lovely man. Like just on every level, professional, kind. When it time to get down to rolling around, like just, he just had it all. And I was, again, lucky enough to work. And that's one of the beauties of policing, the military, a tight community. You don't like everyone in the office. They don't all like you. But at the end of the day, for the most part,
you're pushing towards a shared goal.
You're all professional.
Yeah.
Now, again, there's some unique individuals in our organization, like many who probably shouldn't be allowed to work with the public. Put them in an office writing policy or something, just right. Or they'll cause a fight in an empty room. So, so Drew was right because he ran the beach that way. And it was a change from how it used to be run. It was very confrontational. Us and them. They hated us. We hated them. It was mutual. It was awesome. Right? We'd come down on the beach or down those 500 stairs that are still there. They'd boo. We'd leave at the end of an hour, the end of the day, and they'd cheer. Okay. So he turned that around. He thought, we don't need tough on crime and smart on crime. We need smart on crime. And it's not that it was even crime. I mean, those are my words, but that kind of sums up, when I hear...
It's just a bunch of hippies doing their hippie thing down there.
For the most part.
Right.
For the most part.
Most part.
Police yourselves or we'll do it for you. What do you want? Okay. So and during COVID, so the world went home. The university just was a ghost town. It was like a sci-fi movie set. And I hate sci-fi movies. So it was creepy. But a lot of people started coming to the beach from further away, Surrey and all these places that they're bored. Can't go to work, can't go to school. So the beach kind of grew and became quite a thing among people who weren't the regulars, didn't know the rules, the convention, the culture.
The houses, didn't know the housing situation, the squares.
Wreck Beach is it's chopped up. You can't see it, but it's balkanized. And, the gay men will be on that side as well as down the trail. And then the regulars are certain groups here. The gay women tend to hang out over here a bit. It's just, there's all these, and you can use whatever terms you want for whatever group you want, but they've already
segregated, policed, and got their own little.
Yeah. But so for us to be able to keep, maintain, and perhaps even build on or improve on the relationship on Wreck Beach, for me to be able to do that as an old white colonial settler cop during COVID and BLM and all that stuff, we probably can do it anywhere. In any community in the country, on any reserve. It might not happen in the first day, first week, first month, but boots on the ground.
And then hearts and minds.
Or not.
So, LLDA, Last Line of Defense Act. Have you had much movement on that?
So, I thought about it more after your last podcast and threw it out the window fairly quickly thereafter. The term LLDA, the Last Line of Defense Act. Because I'd had time to think. Talking makes me think, or I'm thinking while I'm talking. Sometimes neither. But I was looking at it as a kind of the chances of getting it adopted by a federal party, which under the Liberals, one might think, not a hope. Well, I'm not going to give up anyways. If it's good policy, it's good policy. If it's sound policy, it's sound policy. I get some people are uncomfortable with it, certain topics, because of mental health issues like anxiety, paranoia, political considerations, just it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of reasons why people will oppose policy. Straight up, good intentions. Well-meaning, intelligent Canadians who honestly think that would be a terrible idea. That's okay too. I just thought that why try and convince, there's different levels of government. So why try and convince one party at the federal level to try out the LLDA, the Last Line of Defense Act? And I kind of broke it up, and I'm not sure if we discussed it then. There's the civilian side, and then there's the people who are already carrying guns legally in this country.
Right.
So now I've just kind of termed it off-shift carry for those who carry professionally in Canada every day. Police, sheriffs, conservation officers, armored car guards, and even citizens who have an ATC, an authorization to carry. We could implement that provincially because policing is a provincial matter. So let's say I don't have to convince Ottawa. What if I convinced Alberta and Saskatchewan to give it a go? Say, look, we've got an issue with public safety in this country. It's not getting better. It's tanking still after 11 years of the Liberals. Part of that's their fault. Part of it's just the way societies evolve. So let's say Alberta and Saskatchewan wanted to watch Liberals' heads explode in Ottawa. It's a sport, just for fun. Just that in and of itself. They could say, well, we're going to request that our police services in these two provinces have the individual option to carry their service pistol off shift, off duty.
So, and that would be a separate sort of ATC, or would that be tied in with the work?
We carry our pistols home all the time.
Right.
We do it because we're on call. We do it because we're going to work overtime on our days off. Some lock their handgun up in the case and carry it home that way at the end of their shift. Many members wear their whole uniform and service pistol home after their shift. And that shift might be in plain clothes, so it'll be concealed, or it might be in uniform. So
you're not suggesting anything different? No new ATC issuance?
No, there's no.
Because we've got 4 levels of ATC for the listener anyways. Principal activities, cash for negotiables, armored car. You're a trapper, and usually they'll give you something like a 22 or something you can dispatch animals in your traps with. Wilderness protection, and then there's going to be protection of life. The first 3 that I mentioned are issued provincially, and then the protection of life one, they went in 2024, I think it was, and they moved that into federal issuance. And they moved that one out into one federal body, which might still have the province involved, whether you're an opt-in or opt-out province, what have you. Police, they don't need an ATC, just in the same way that they don't need a firearms license in order to carry a firearm, because given the King's Commission, they are able to be exempted from that one.
Yep.
So you would be looking at something basically in line with the work, because, like they say, police officer's job never stops. Right?
Well, under the RCMP Act specifically, they own us 24/7.
Right.
And within reason, I think that's legitimate. I don't think everything you do on your days off should be covered under that, but we should be held to a higher standard, without a doubt.
I agree.
As are teachers and people, other professions where you have you're in a position of authority.
That's right. Doctors are held to a higher standard. Teachers, like you say.
But there's one group of people in Canada that need to be held to a higher standard than even police officers.
Yeah, the politicians?
Are politicians.
Sure.
And they're nowhere near it. So that is a systemic problem in this country, among much of the world. But yeah, that's a no-go. That's Pierre Poilievre says, I want to make Canada the freest nation on earth. Okay, well, one-liners are kind of cute in advertising and things, you know, and that's maybe the start of the conversation. But there's more to it. So, and no one in the media, to my knowledge, and I don't watch politics 24/7, but I've never seen or heard of anyone in the media from any side, left, right, mainstream, independent, say, well, Mr. Poilievre, you've said that you'd like to make Canada the freest nation on earth. Can you tell us within your first 90 days, 6 months, year, 2, 3, 4 things that you think that you could get done in that vein to enhance the freedom of Canada, right? Obviously,
He's been asked that.
you know, so I haven't heard like those answers much, and maybe I can't watch TV nonstop. I work 12-hour shifts, all that stuff.
I think he's got some decent one-liners to come back to all of that.
Yep.
Whether those one-liners pan out into something that's doable and makes sense, but they definitely sound good when asked and he says it.
So, and I mean, I'm conservative.
Yeah.
You know, full disclosure, I'm not far right. I'm not far left. I could probably, you know,
I think most.
I will find something in common with all of them. And when you're working the protest lines at Kinder Morgan, Fairy Creek, UBC, you're down on Wreck Beach, you're sitting in a room with motorcycle enthusiasts.
Fully patched?
I find it's helpful to find what we have in common.
Yeah.
And use that as a starting point, a building block, a foundation. Humor, if nothing else. So you might not, you're sitting there looking like, do I like their car? Do I like their pit bull? Do I like their politics? You might not like anything. You might be polar opposites. Okay, well, then I guess it's just down to humor, right? Can we crack that? And if you can, that's maybe that crack that you can open a bit more. And you're not there to pull a fast one on anybody. Is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? I'm a cup half full guy. Like I said, I would sit down with the devil himself or herself if that's what it took. Right? The days of total war are over. The days of probably crushing a country with 1 or 2 bombs is probably over. It's a negotiated peace. But peace is worth negotiating, even if it is the devil himself. So conflict is conflict, whether it's war, whether it's guerrilla war, total war, interstate. We may hate each other, right? But can we leave this world a better place? And so wars come and go. Sometimes they drag on. Sometimes they end forever. There's conflict in my business, in policing.
Well, we need conflict.
Well, it's natural. It's normal.
We all need conflict in our life. It's just, how do we deal with that conflict? And some people don't know how to deal with it very well, and that conflict becomes one thing that they focus on. That conflict compounds, but without friction, there's no fire. If everything's easy, then nothing's easy, right? Like you need that comparative scale, the whole yin and yang. You can't define white without knowing what black is, right? You can't define good without knowing what evil is, and
it'll always be there.
Right.
So it's the human condition. So what do we do about it? Right? Soft on crime, tough on crime. I just kind of, because you know kind of what side of the house they're coming by when you hear those terms. You're just like, right? No, I'm interested in smart on crime. We have to be smart on crime because we're not very smart on it now. So there's a lot of room to do better. I think there's going to be no shortage of work when I do retire, because I think there's municipal governments, provincial governments, and federal governments that are doing it. It's never good to probably walk into a big group and say you're doing it wrong.
But you could be doing it better, and here's a way.
So cup half full, not you're doing it wrong, dumbass. You're doing many things right.
Yeah, but wrong by what measure?
Well,
right?
So again, you have to be careful. Like the goal is to give a level of government or corporations or businesses or even community groups or individuals, give them options that they can use, empower them. Probably don't go in and say you're doing it all wrong. Probably say, you know what, you're doing a pretty good job. I can help you do better. We can do better.
Yeah, I think a shared understanding of what the desirable outcome should be, because I think quite often where my frustration has come when dealing with government bodies is not understanding we don't have the same shared outcome that we're looking at. Whereas I say, that's completely wrong if you want to affect this. They might agree with me, but they're not trying to affect this. Their head's in a completely different area. And it might be that they want just to get elected in, or they want to appease, or they want a soundbite that sounds good and something easy, because we're creatures. Animals have game paths. They take the path of least resistance that's safe. We're animals, and we do that. So that's my starting point, is by what measure? Can we at least agree on what measure, honestly, because it's nice to say that this is our measure. Public safety is our measure. Okay, what does that mean to you, right?
Systemic racism, any term you want to use.
Sure.
We need to, I'm not interested in creating a plan until we've clearly defined and agreed upon what the problem is.
Right.
And then once we've clearly defined and agreed on what the problem is, we can start working on strategies to that ideally, are either the cheapest to start with or the easiest to implement, or there's any number of factors you want to look at.
Yeah, I find that the hardest part. Like
yes.
So Delta here, we've got a hunting regulatory advisory committee, HRAC, and firearms and hunting kind of regulations in the city of Delta. I've sat on that board for years. And when I first came on, I'm kind of paying attention, trying to see what's, the new guy here, like what's the process? What do we do? And oftentimes maybe it's something they've talked about before and everyone's got this shared understanding. They kind of know where it is. Oh, the greenhouse over here, they've got broken glass. And so we're going to have to put up signage and we're going to have to move things out further or maybe put a no shoot zone. Well, hold on a second. Broken glass from what? Right? Was it hail? Was it birds pooping rocks out? They came down. I mean, from the distance we're looking at, like I can do the physics, I can do the math, and the shot sizes that are going to be falling at that distance, and everything falls at 32 feet per second or 9.8 meters per second squared. Like, you're probably going to have a difficult time attributing this broken glass to a shotgun unless you've witnessed it and they're within this X distance. But that's not the conversation. And the conversation has already started from a step of, here's an issue, it's been reported, and we want to take the steps. And everyone's really good at trying to problem solve those steps. But the initial, let's all get on the same side. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the greenhouse people just don't want to have shotguns around them. Maybe they attribute broken glass. I'm not saying that's the case, but it's part of the process that should be looked at as you start weeding out. And once everyone has that shared understanding, then the solutions start to become pretty evident. Easier
said than done, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right.
That's minuscule compared to...
Yeah, it's... I was talking to a retired RCMP guy the other day, and he's all over animal rights and this and that, and he's not so big on hunting and guns and stuff. So, it's like conservation. and we're talking Africa. And, so we can agree on, conservation goals.
Sure.
But how we get there, we may never agree, right? What place does hunting have in conservation? We're talking about Africa.
It's massive.
Well, but his no. What do you mean hunting? No, it's all trophy hunting, canned hunting. It's all bad, evil, runaway. Again, I had a girlfriend who was a vegetarian and left-leaning social worker. We're still friends. And
we're still friends, despite all of that.
Over a decade later, and we were open to each other's perspectives, right? I don't mind. We can get into it if you want, but let's do it over a burger and a beer. Let's be polite. Let's not hit each other with the mugs, and we'll do it again next week. But
yeah, how does hunting help it in Africa? Well, maybe through a not so obvious way, but the outcome is measurable. The not so obvious way is, well, you just put a price on these animals and they become a commodity. And now that commodity needs to be protected. And without that structure in place, you wouldn't have those animals because there'd be no protection factor for them. They would just be destroyed and shipped off for tusks and fur and all the rest. So is it the best solution? Well, it's a better solution than a lot have been offered, and it's actually produced desirable results. So it'd be hard to argue against that one.
But when you're dealing with people who are anxious or paranoid, those are mental health issues, or have, for politics, for ideology, or just, it's just not their values. They honestly don't think that that's the right way to do it, and it might even be harmful. No one likes to be challenged on their values. Very few people do. I like it. So CKNW, they'll call me out if I say something stupid, or they'll have a rebuttal. As will your close friends.
CKNW will, or the other people?
Well,
whoever's calling in.
All of it.
Because they just moderate usually, right?
But they'll have guest speakers sometime. I talked to John Horrigan when they were talking about the grizzly bear, banning grizzly bear hunting.
Right.
And I said, okay, well, what's your plan if you ban grizzly bear hunting? And I've never hunted grizzlies, and there's different types of hunting I get, which that's fine. There's room for everybody, but except poachers.
Well, that's not hunting.
No.
That's poaching.
So I said to John Horrigan, I said, what is your plan if you ban grizzly bear hunting? Because in jurisdictions around the world, and I'll use Kenya as an example, they banned hunting in 1977 for a number of reasons. And poachers just filled that gap. So how are you going to fill that gap? What is your plan for British Columbians if you ban grizzly bear hunting? Because if you ban grizzly bear hunting, you're going to need more, not less COs to monitor the area, to take ownership for an area that the guides and outfitters and hunters and community already did. So that's going to be gone. And a lot of the revenue is going to be gone. Like, what's your plan? And of course, it's CKNW, we're not going to get too far into it, but they don't have a plan. Now, every country in Africa that either banned hunting and still has, Kenya, but a couple others tried it and have reversed that. Again, there's a lot of talk about evidence-based this, evidence-based that. We have to agree. Ideally, I want to deal with people who can get shit done. Now, in a big, old conservative bureaucracy, the only people that care about policy, RCMP policy, is the RCMP. Government really doesn't too much. The courts don't, judges don't, Canadian public really don't, right? We do. Dress and deportment, this and that, goes on. We do some things very well, and other things down the hall in the same building, crap the bed. It's mind-boggling. I wrote a paper on counterterrorism policies years ago. I did my terrorism studies through St. Andrews University in Scotland. Mm-hmm. And my boss said, hey, you should send that paper out to some RCMP people. There's lots of people that'd be interested. One, it's our core mandate, public safety. National security is also a thing. It's a whole division in the RCMP at headquarters, but also around the country. And yeah, there's lots of people that is relevant to. So, I was going to send it to some of the firearms instructors, some other people in INSET, national security. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I don't know, why don't you just send it a little higher up? I'm like, well, how high? I'm not going to send it to the commissioner. He's like, yeah, no, I wouldn't do that either. But so anyways, on Friday, I hit send to Ottawa, as well as lots of other places, and to a bunch of people I knew, but to a couple of very high-ranking people that I did not know that were in charge of some pretty big sections in the country, federal policing and national security, just to name two. So, and it was critical of certain policies, not so much necessarily the RCMP, but just some of those applied as well. Like, I'm not going to shy away.
Sure.
I didn't write the paper for the organization, right?
You wrote it for an end result.
So when I got to work on Monday, there was some emails, and one email was from the head of national security, who said, and I quote, he thanked me and said, and your conclusions are as sound as any. Thank you for including me. Someone else just down the hall from that person at a pretty high level didn't like it. And so I was called to the principal's office at headquarters in Surrey. So, okay. So, you've got two people in the same organization in the same city, Ottawa, just down the hall from each other. One thanked me and said, your conclusions are as sound as any. And the other one is like, how dare you? So I get called to the principal's office in Surrey. I'm like, where's Surrey? Anyways. And I'm in their office, and behind them is a TV, muted. And I was working at YVR on a criminal interdiction team at the airport, plainclothes, at the time. And the Olympics were coming up, 2010, critical national infrastructure, counterterrorism, I don't know, all that good stuff. And I think he kind of felt sorry for me, because he's like, what am I supposed to do with you? Right? He's former ERT, seems like a good guy, competent, keen. But he's like, what direction does stuff roll downhill? I'm like, yeah, I get it. But on the TV behind him, there was a live news feed of a terrorist attack on an airport in Moscow. And I'm like, okay, well, I work at a federal unit at YVR. It's critical national infrastructure, public safety, counterterrorism. The Olympics are coming up. And I'm, sitting here, and again, he was like,
wagging the finger.
Well, again, he was just passing on the message. Sure. He was just the messenger. I think, based on his body language and his language, I think that, there was a measure of respect there. But he couldn't say it. He was.
Fair enough.
So at the end of the day, I get a performance evaluation, a negative one for, and my crime was sending material without going through the chain of command. So very minor as it could be, but just kind of, an aha moment, like, in theory, we talk the talk. And this can be a business, a company, a corporation, a government
Yes, the RCMP is one big corporation that's
so
not without its problems and its good stuff, but
I went home and they're back to the airport, and my boss is like, "What happened?" I'm like, just showed him the thing, and he's like, "That's it?" I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Cool." And because they saw the email from and I'm like, it is what it is. But my standards, I think, are a bit higher. And when it comes to public safety, of which national security is a part, public safety is our core mandate of government at all levels, municipal, provincial, federal. It's job number one.
I think that whole story, if I'm to suss through it just a little bit, might boil down to the same thing we're talking about before of, are we approaching the issue from the same side? Do we have shared goals? Because maybe, just maybe, your letter hit it on the nail on the head, but it also brought it out of the shadows into light, something that they would have a difficult time not responding to. And maybe they didn't have the budget for it, or they didn't want to do it, but now they feel compelled to have to do it. And it's, look at this person below us, and they pointed out this foible or this, and it's altruistically looking at it like, shouldn't public safety mean this, as opposed to, well, if you're going to get promoted and this is on your desk and you never acted on it, and this has been before you, what's that going to do for you personally? Maybe there's two different ways of looking at that same thing. And that's one thing that has taken me a long time in dealing with civil servants, is finding a way to take my non-civil servant background and try and put myself in that headspace of, where is their head when they're looking at this? Because maybe they want to see the end result, but is there a way that we can get them there without making them look silly? Or can I paint them in a corner and give them a door out and make it look like it's their idea? I don't care.
Make it a win for them.
Right. There you go.
Right. No one wants to willingly take a loss.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or make a decision, it seems, if you're in a position of authority.
It might not be your decision to make.
Right.
In which case, you're probably talking to the wrong person.
Right.
But so when I was sitting in the principal's office, he's like, "You realize this could get out?" I'm like, there it is.
Mm-hmm. There you go. What if someone else sees this?
And I like, and I said, listen, to be honest, I thought this is just among us guys, just among us, right? The family, the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, yeah. And again, that's fine. They live in a different world at a different altitude.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
The perspective is going to be different.
Yep. And again, I came out of it, as far as I'm concerned, that was a win for me. Like, I'm just, so.
But I think that's something that people can carry with them. Like, a lot of the bureaucracy that I have to deal with is going to be within the firearms program. And sometimes in the court system as a subject matter expert, or sometimes and trying to navigate that, I think just that little bit of understanding of what you just said there, how do you find it so they get a win out of this? Like, what does a win look like for me and for them, and where's that common ground meet?
Well, a win in public safety benefits everybody.
Right.
So we go back to what I was proposing, the LLDA, or now what I call off-shift carry, or civilian ATC. The standard for off-shift carry, or for civilians carrying handguns in Canada today, are armored car guards. They're civilians. Mm-hmm. They're not police officers. They're not screened the same. They're not trained the same. And to my knowledge, I don't know, however many, let's say we have 5,000 armored car guards in Canada.
Sure.
Okay. That's the standard, and it's a provincial standard, I believe.
It's a federal standard now.
It's not provincial?
Issued provincially, federal standard that was created. I think it was Mike Mussallem back in the day put together a federal armored car use of force standard. Now, that said, you can meet or exceed or deviate from that standard and meet the same guideline, but they do have a federal program that's set out as a standard.
Clear as mud.
Yes.
Fair enough. So if you can't, if you can't come in the front door, come in the back door. Come down the chimney. Mm-hmm. There's other ways to approach these problems. But let's say Alberta and Saskatchewan just want to watch some Liberal heads explode, and they say, well, we want our police services in our provinces, respective provinces, to have the individual choice. The officer has the individual choice to carry their service pistol off shift. That's it. Some, like big city polices, Calgary, Edmonton, will probably do what the province says and have a discussion. And there should be a discussion. How's that going to look? What's it going to look like? Do they need an extra permit? No, they don't. We're already carrying guns to and from work all day long. Are they going to need extra permission? No. Now, is there an opportunity here, though, to do a 1 or a 2 day concealed carry course? The RCMP now has a concealed carry course.
Right.
It's only been around for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, better late than never. I was talking about that. I think the first week I walked into North Van RCMP in 2000, I'm like, do we have rifles in our car? And they looked at me like, you're not from around here, are you, boy? No. And then I've been talking about these things for years. So if there's an opportunity, and now the RCMP has seen the need to fill a void, and I think it's a 2 day course, which you should be able in 2 days. You, I, Millbrook, we should all be able to write a course, and it would probably be much the same. Mm-hmm. But if there's an opportunity to up our standards and training for the individual choice to carry off shift, for off-shift carry, let's take advantage of opportunities to do that. Oh, well, we'd need new training. Well, you're not going to need much training because the RCMP is a 2 day course, which is better. We needed that course decades ago, but better late than never.
Sure.
So, but the RCMP in those two provinces, I'm quite confident would say, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Now, it's their property, and they have the right, in my mind, to say absolutely not. But then the provinces could also say, well, your contract's up in 2032. And so, again, I'm getting a little bit out of my pay grade, but it's doable. Now, there was a politician who advocated for off-shift carry of police officers. I've included peace officers and non-peace officers. Because if you're already out there carrying a gun all day long, you've met the provincial standard. Mm-hmm. So if your armored car guards have met the standard, we have no trouble. If I said, I want to increase armored car guards across the country by 30,000, it wouldn't be news. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't make the news. It's not news. Mm-hmm. But you would have 30,000 more people carrying handguns all over the place. Mm-hmm. But again, not news. But if I said, well, and some people, bureaucrats, Ottawa, would get all wound up about this. So maybe the RCMP in those two provinces say no, as is, I think they're right. But maybe Edmonton, Calgary, Regina police, they're all like, okay, what's this going to look like, right? And it's not rocket science, right? You can get it done in 90 days, this legislation, or just this amendment, right? Could we do the same things with civilians? Under the province, now that your FACs or your pals with the feds, but let's say Alberta says, you know what? Why don't we try a pilot project for civilian ATCs? Or, I don't know, name it however you want. Sure. There's wilderness carry. They're all ATCs, sure, but we'll come up with a name.
Sure.
And what are the standards? Well, the same standards that exist today for all these guys and gals that are out there walking around with their guns.
That's right.
That's the standard. Now, the standards, again, not rocket science. We need to be safe and we need to be competent.
Yeah.
That's it.
Understand the framework.
That's it. Safe and competent. Mm-hmm. Well, are we going to make civilian ATCs more expensive or higher standards than the armored car guards? Well, no, we're not here to screw people. That's just another way to screw people. If there's room to improve the safety or the competence of our armored car guards, sheriffs, conservation officers, police officers, or civilians, let's look at that. But let's not make it a 1 month user course for a pistol that's going to cost $30,000. You know, you just... So, I mean, bureaucratic fuckery and all that stuff, it's not my thing. But so Alberta could do that. But what if I told you there was a political party in Ottawa that proposed this as a private member's bill, that police officers be allowed to carry off shift for all absolutely valid reasons? Every reason is valid. When
was that proposed?
Well, it actually was proposed.
Yeah.
By the Liberal Party of Canada, by Dominic LeBlanc, a number of years ago. I printed off the one sheet. He had kind of a summary of it, and I'll have to track it down for you.
Sure.
But, he said it's just common sense, right? There's police all over the country, everywhere.
What was the opposition to it?
Well, it's a private member's bill.
Sure, okay.
And I'm sure it was crushed by his own party.
Sure.
Right? But he's made all the same arguments that I've made. I've probably added on to some because I come from a counterterrorism policing background, firearms instructor, all that stuff. But I'm like, I just read his arguments and they all make sense, right? This would cost taxpayers nothing for off-shift carry. Okay? There might be some slight modifications in an online training course for some theoretical work prior to your 1 or 2 day practical course. But now you've got your police officers trained up to a higher standard. The Canadian public thinks that we're all Navy SEALs or JTF or SAS. It's like, we do the bare minimum in this country. We qualify on our service pistols once a year. Bare minimum. Many officers are highly professional, competent, safe, ex-military, current reserve military, grew up on the prairie shooting, right? A lot of officers, it's just a necessary evil. And they have trouble passing their annual qualification. Now, giving us the most difficult pistol to shoot well under stress on the planet is part of that reason. But that's now
changing.
It's changing. The new pistol's coming in. The sad thing is when it comes to, I'm pretty patient, easygoing. I don't worry about what the judges say, the courts say. Like, I will represent my franchise, the parent company, to the best of my ability for the people I work for. But at the end of the day, I don't control the courts. I don't control the media. Like, it's out of my hands. So if there's an opportunity for us to up our game, great. But again, we do the bare minimum many times. So Canadians think, oh, we're these, ERT guys, all of us or something.
Yeah.
And
well, you're a cop. You must know about guns.
Right?
Well, maybe, but quite often, no. I mean, it's just one small part of the job. There's so many other parts of the job that they need to know about.
And, I've presented criminology classes at Douglas College over the years, UBC, sociology, anthropology of all things, the Justice Institute for Police Leadership. They always say, why do you want to be a cop? How did you get into policing? Why did you want to? What made you want to become a cop? Well, okay, I grew up watching war movies. Adam 12, SWAT, Starsky and Hutch. I don't know. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
I needed a job with no math. So I looked down the list that said jobs that require no math. And I went down the list and it said cop. No math plus gun. Fuck.
Real joke. You know why I'm standing here?
I could do that math. And I'm like, I'm going to be one of those. Right? And they said, and they laugh. It's great. It's fun. And they said, but I wanted to live my life armed. And most people don't know what that means. What does that mean? Someone will ask it, right? You have 2 of them. No. I wanted to live my life armed with a handgun. And that's where the room can kind of go quiet at times. One time someone went, woo,
Sure.
They're from the prairies, no doubt. But I said, yeah. And I said, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? Now, I was at Gunsight in the 80s.
Sure.
I still carry Milt Sparks holsters and a gun belt. I met Milt Sparks at Gunsight, right? Happened to be wearing all his gear when I met him, which was perfect. But so, yeah, I wanted to live, and I come from, so again, reading about World War II as a kid in elementary school, and it's just about planes, trains, guns, all the neat stuff, the cool stuff. What's this Holocaust thing? What's a concentration camp? As you get older, you start reading more and you start branching out. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's creepy. All the political stuff that was going behind the scenes. Well, at the same time, that led up to it.
And I always had disarmament as a predecessor to the. They'd have disarmament as something that happened before, let's say, the Holocaust. It happened before.
It was part and parcel.
Right.
When the Germans invaded all of Europe, they rolled in, and it was a bit nasty for a bit and bombed and fought and stuff. But then it was like, hey, this is for your safety. Hand in all this, don't do this, don't do that. And the penalties were extreme.
And that was your reasoning for wanting to
I started
armed.
I couldn't understand as a kid. First of all, they put all these people in a train and then killed them.
Because that's the one thing that I think will get a lot of people on their back foot. Hold on a second. He just wants to have a job armed. He just wants a gun. He just wants to have some power that's derived from having an object on his hip. Or what's wrong with this guy? Why would he want that as opposed to wanting to live in a society where he doesn't need any of that?
So again, everyone's got an opinion. I get it. Everyone's got self-interest, and they've got, anxiety, paranoia, ideology, politics, just good intentions, blah, blah, blah. I'm more interested in tell us more about that. So I get it that everyone has an opinion, but you're not really valuable in the room if you say, what does that mean to you? So people say, well, you're into guns. Absolutely. Just like I'm into community and public safety, seat belts, first aid,
fire extinguishers.
I said, this is, I can remember when I had an interview for the RCMP, and no secret that it was going to get out that Ian was into guns. So when you're into something, it's often a negative.
Or it's given that negative connotation.
Of course.
Right?
So I got called in, for my background check. And we heard you're into guns, right? Yeah. And you can see you're kind of fumbling. Well, could you tell us more about that? Sure. So this is going reasonably well. She's asking for. My dad was in public safety work for the federal government, fire protection engineer, all that stuff. Safety's been a thing driven into me. We had seatbelts in our car in the 60s before seatbelts were even in Canada. And they were the race car style, the 2 clips, and just coolest thing ever in our Austin, Cambridge or whatever we were driving down the street in. But I said, so my background is all safety. My dad, when we were young and we traveled the province, we'd come up, to a train crossing. We'd have to take off our seatbelts as kids, look both ways. Is it okay, Dad? Just all that stuff. So, I just explained that. And I said, but before that, I also said, well, what do you mean? Into guns? Because I'm going to have a bit of fun with them because, what do you mean? Well, And this is where she was kind of, and I was just straight faced, but I'm having fun. Well, we really just want to know whether you have a healthy interest in firearms or an unhealthy interest in firearms.
What's an unhealthy interest in firearms?
So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Straight face. And I'm like, okay, Ian, 50-50 chance of getting this one right. So what was the answer again? Do you need to call a friend? Like, and I'm just I'm like, healthy interest. And she's like, okay. And that's where she went, oh, can you tell us more? Right? It was funny. And I was having fun and I just, it was all very serious. So, but I couldn't help. I was giggling inside. And I just said, yeah, I just explained it. I said, I know we carry firearms. I know we deal with firearms probably more than any segment of the population. Safety's always been a big thing. I said, I've tried to develop myself academically and physically for this job, for this career, I said. And I said, this is just part of it. I've taken some firearm safety courses. That's it. Some people don't get it. And that made sense because some people don't get it. And she, yeah, okay, thanks. Away you go.
Done.
So I understand the concern, but again, the standard in Canada is an armored car guard. We just got to make sure that they're safe and competent. They are. If there's room, and this is for the civilian side of the house that I'm talking about, off-shift carry, at the very most, we might need, we do a lot of online training because we're all across the country in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
So if there's some theory you can do before the course, because like first aid, there's theory for lots of courses, and then we go and do the courses.
Let's do a hybrid model.
Yeah. So yeah, if we can up our game, but I mean, I remember looking at my coworkers in plainclothes in North Van, or even on the federal side of the house, federal serious and organized crime, with their plainclothes holsters. And I mean, we just called them the colostomy bag. Like they stuck out about this far, and they had certain levels of retention, and they didn't have a thumb break or anything. But, and I'm like, you're not coming out on surveillance wearing that, because we're dealing with organized crime and gangsters who are violent, who are actively hunting and killing each other on a regular basis, decade after decade. And you're carrying a gun. Like, you can see you're carrying a gun. You're carrying something huge.
Walking the dog.
So the issue holster, while it may have met some safety requirements for an admin person somewhere, your first safety thing is remaining covert. It's like you walking around Northern Ireland with clearly a pistol on your belt. That's not going to fly. So they don't know you're a gangster. We've got police officers that look like 14-year-old skateboarders, and or look like more like any biker you'd ever met, right? Like, and everything in between. So I said, that has to change. You need to either dress for that holster and pistol, and our pistol's pretty big, or we need to get a different holster, because that's unsafe. Now, of course, what happens is when policy doesn't match realistic operational necessity, someone will step in and fill. So there's a gentleman who built Kydex holsters for the service pistol that we carry, and it was very popular, right? Inside the waistband, IWB. And if you're wearing the right clothing, you're good.
Disappears.
I, of course, wear custom Milt Sparks inside the waistband. Mitch Rosen inside the waistband. I may have them all in my bag as we speak. But, so there's room to up our game, as I put it, for concealed carry for all officers across the country.
Sure.
So if we can take an opportunity to do that, let's do it. The new pistol, it'll all be new holsters, new all that stuff. But
yes, on Glock, didn't you?
We've got, so it's a Glock 45, and the 45 is the model number, not the caliber.
Right.
And so again, here we do some things very well in this outfit, and other things not so much. Our carbines, we've got Colt Canada C8 carbines. British and Dutch Special Forces use the Colt Canada ones because the quality is better than the American Colt carbines. We took an excellent, I'm not sure I would have chosen it, but we have taken a good, proven platform, foundation, and then we added bits and pieces on it. We added, we had condiments or accessories or whatever. And every one of them there's no bling. There's no pimping out your gun. They all enhance the use of that tool, which is actually PPE. It's emergency safety equipment. So we put on backup folding sights, good ones. We put a nice, proven red dot sight on it. Retractable stock. A new pistol grip, more ergonomic, more comfortable, the whole bit. Just everything you want on it and nothing you don't. Now, of course, some people want all kinds of things, but so we really knocked it out of the park that way. So same with the Glock. Now, you may not like a Glock or you may whatever, but I shot my first Glock. I was on one of the protective courses in the States in the mid 80s, right?
That was when they were made out of porcelain.
We didn't, I don't think we started with our semi-automatic pistol, I think 94. But our Glock is light years ahead of the pistol we're carrying. And you can get used to anything.
Got the 5946 right now? Yeah.
So
I've done a lot of work on those.
I can hide my 5946 because I buy custom leather holsters. So I tucked away my 5946 at YVR in my shorts and this shirt, actually. It's not the best shirt for concealed carry, but it's cut straight. It's a heavier material. It's black. And you're probably looking at these. Not down here. I have better shirts to wear. And I'm wearing a custom holster for concealment. I can tuck that 5946 away. No one ever saw it, ever. And I just wore shirt and shorts and a ball cap at YVR. I've got 2 full magazines, 15-round magazines. I've got a handcuff pouch. I've got a cell phone pouch because we didn't carry radios. I didn't clip my knife on my belt unless my shirt hit it because we don't want people to tell. But yeah, like before we've even left the office, you got people trying to leave the office with that gun. And then someone put it in their purse one time, and then she actually had to pull it, and she didn't know. I don't like firearms I like them to be on your person. I don't care if it's appendix. I can't do appendix just because a little bit of this.
Abdominal enhancement.
Right? But, and that will be a policy decision, right? I mean, I can live with 4 o'clock carry. But, so yes, if we can, and I don't know what we're carrying in plain clothes right now anyways, because I'm not in plain clothes. We've had improvements as we've gone over the years. But this new Glock pistol, it's not going to have a 12 to 14 pound trigger. So for a bean counter or someone, a bureaucrat who's all about liability, well, we can't have a hair trigger, right? I would never give cops a single action anyways. But when I trained in gun sight in the early 80s, our counterterrorist team, which was RCMP at the time, they had SIGs, DASA, double action and then single action for every pull after. So I bought a SIG and I rocked that thing down at gun sight. But Jeff Cooper was so funny. Jeff Cooper obviously liked single action only, preferably in 1911.
Preferably. The
Browning high power, he might give you a nod maybe, depends on the weather. So Jeff's like...
Yeah, that was my first pistol, Browning high power.
In the reserves or that you owned?
That I owned.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I wish I had one. Jeff said, well, there's options. You don't have to go for your double action trigger pull to start with because it's awkward going from a double action to a single action. You need to be careful with a single action handgun, a more mature, well-trained shooter. Same is true, I think, with the double DASA, because it's awkward. It's a weird. You can get used to anything, and then there's just straight double action only, which is ours. So I understand why they want double action only from a safety point of view, but this is the safety.
Mm-hmm.
This is partly the safety, but so, I get it. But what happens when you get into a critical incident and the stress is through the roof and you're clenching your sphincter so tight that it's affecting how your eyes are working? Like, it's just real world consequences. So if I don't hit my target with every single round, bullets don't care. They just keep going till they hit something. It's a to whom it may concern. They don't care. So if you've given your officers the most difficult pistol to use well under stress, and 15% of officers in the States miss, right? And again, there's lots of reasons for that. Training, equipment, all kinds of stuff. But, the amount of stress in a real gunfight, never been in one, pulled my gun a couple times. It's stressful. And no one's even shooting at me. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on. We can alleviate all that through proper training, but proper equipment makes a difference too. Yeah. So if our trigger pull, and no one knows what the trigger pull is. I can't find out, and I haven't really asked yet.
What, on the 5946 or
no,
the 45?
The Glock 45. VPD, I think's got about an 8-pound trigger.
Yeah, whether they're putting that New York spring in there or what?
Vancouver or us?
You.
Are we?
Oh, I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So again,
that was. So I was in Smyrna, Georgia, at the Glock factory, and they're talking about that New York trigger, and I guess Gaston Glock's like, no way. New York's like, we want to have the heavier trigger pull. He's like, no, it's perfect. We got just the angle of how we set it up. You can have different trigger pulls. There's absolutely no need for this New York trigger pull. We're not making it. They said, well, we have this many guns that we want to buy and put it in. He's like, not a problem. We'll make it. Right?
50,000.
That's right.
Yeah, of course. So
and then everyone else started picking it up too. The one thing that the manufacturer said, no, you don't need it. You don't want it.
If our trigger pull is, let's say, 8 pounds on the new Glock, it'll be a game changer. I've been shooting mine for 27 years. I'm a firearms instructor. I've done a counterterrorism program. There was just a lot of shooting. I shoot it well. I even had one of the Millbrook ex-GTF guys go, dude, I have never seen anyone so smooth on a double action before. Right? Why, thank you. But that's not everyone, right? I put the time, the interest, all that stuff. You have to dumb it down, and maybe dumb it down is the wrong word, but we need
accessible to the masses.
And we need it. We need to give our people the ability to succeed. And they have to have the confidence in those tools. So we're going to have a light underneath it. We're going to have a nice red dot sight, Acro P2, I think, supposed to be pretty good. I've never used a red dot on a pistol, so I'm very curious. It's going to be weird in a good way. So more people will qualify on this pistol. Fewer people will fail. So that alone is a win for an organization. Time, money, all that stuff. But it's also a win for the user because their confidence goes up. Their stress goes down. It's also a win for the Canadian public because there'll be fewer misses. 30,000 foot view, big picture. I remember a sergeant saying when the carbines were coming, the patrol rifles, oh, I don't think we should have those. I don't trust members with these.
Yeah, it's the wrong mentality, or you're hiring the wrong people.
You're in the wrong line of work. Mm-hmm. But I would suggest too that, and there are police officers, I have colleagues, that oppose off-shift carry. I go, what do you care? Everyone's carrying to and from anyways now because they're on call. They're traveling up to the fires. They are going to work overtime on their days off. I know members that just carry their service pistol. I have no concern about it whatsoever.
People don't like change, though. You start suggesting something that changes or deviates from the status quo, and you're going to get your
which is fine.
resistance.
When it comes to maybe the shirt you have to wear. Actually, no, we'll get into that too. This is police and public safety. So I'm a very tolerant guy, pretty chilled, easygoing, good-natured. I just am. I'll hear, like I said, I'll sit down with the devil himself, herself. We can find common ground on these things, but to be fair, a lot of people who have an opinion on things have no idea. Their opinion is based on nothing more than their own opinion.
Sure.
That's fine. I get it. I get that you're honestly concerned about conservation of animals, even in another country. I get that you're concerned about officers maybe carrying guns on days off, but you don't have anything to offer the conversation. If it's just, whether you're going to vote for it or not, and you're not going to vote for it, right? I'm not going to poll you. You don't get to vote on it. Supreme Court doesn't poll Canadians. You don't get a vote. They'll do what they're going to do, right? And their job is to just, essentially, it's either constitutional or it's not. Their job isn't to decide whether it's good policy or not. It's not. They're doing it. I get it. But that's not their job. Mm-hmm. They've way crossed the line. And there's unintended consequences when you pass legislation.
Sure.
Sometimes those unintended consequences are of the good kind, and some are horrific. And clearly, human beings aren't that good at predicting which one you're going to get. Sometimes it's both. Our courts have lost credibility as the whole legal profession. Prisons, police, courts, Crown Counsel. Again, in a rich Western democracy, well after the Enlightenment, well after World War II, most things in society are better. Science, technology, just, out with the old, in with the new. It's just, those barf bags, the new barf bags are spectacular.
We've come full circle. I love it.
But look at laws and crime and policing and courts and prisons. It's like we're still back 100 years ago, and it's never evolved. Yeah, we've got helicopters now. We've got semi-autos instead of revolvers. Like, there's a lot of things that have improved. And I'll be the first one to sing our praises, or what I think are our praises in terms of national security, public safety, police and public safety, all kinds of things. What we do right, the carbine, the pistol. And there's lots of other examples. But that doesn't prevent me from calling us out where we shit the bed.
I 100% agree.
On that note, T in, T out. I don't know if that's biology or gravity or both, but why don't we take a break?
Ian, it was been absolutely fantastic. Thank you again for being on the podcast.
You know what? I've barely touched the surface, strangely enough. I've got a goodie bag here, which we'll have to wait till next time. And yeah, I've had this time off from work. I'm looking forward to going back to work soon. Just long enough to retire properly. Looking at going consultant, probably open a consultancy myself. I know there's lots of firms and a couple of people are asking me, would I come over? People are saying, what's your company going to be? I don't know. So as I've been off work to get rested and healthy, and then the strokes just icing on the cake, screwed everything up, put me back 6 months probably. I've been practicing for the next chapter, which is retirement.
Well, I got some thoughts on that because you and I were talking about that too, but we'll probably have to have those conversations on the next podcast.
My bladder won't hold out.
I love it.
Cheers.
Thank you.